जनप्रियं प्रियकरं निर्मत्सरं पूजितं शङ्खापूर्वकनामगाननतिभिः कालावसानिकृतं निद्राहारविहारकादिविदितं Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Society globally, and we want to thank you for participating in our weekly readings and discussions of the three main scriptures that Prabhupada translated in English for us, namely Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita as it is, and Srimad Bhagavatam, which is currently the original copies of the Delhi Bhagavatam. We're calling them the Delhi Bhagavatams, are out of print. They're no longer available for all of us to read and thoroughly enjoy, even the so-called errors in the books from back then. For many of us, were not errors, but they actually were a part of the attraction that we had for reading them, because they were so authentic, very authentic versions. I mean, think about Prabhupada was in India, and English was his second language. And he was using one of those old style typewriters. So if you made a mistake, then it was more difficult. You might, whatever situation you were in India, you might not have the facility to correct it. So you'll see when you get these copies of these books that they're really done according to how Prabhupada typed them. And it appears that he might have just did them and edited them himself back then. Because remember, he didn't have much support from his godbrothers. In fact, he was more or less an outsider in the Gaudiya Math, but he still had a mission. The Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, his guru, and in his first appearance or first meetings with him, had given him a direction that he should go to the West and preach Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking people. And when he got that instruction, he carried it with him throughout his life. it became a priority in his focus as a person, transcendental servitor of Bhaktisiddhanta. And subsequently, he embarked on his journey to America in 1965. And there's a background behind that of struggle and hard work to arrange his passage, to arrange his entry, although it unfolded according to the assistance of the Supreme Lord. Man proposes, God disposes. But Krishna was working forward to help him successfully come to America. And along with the journey, he brought these original Bhagavatams that we're reproducing. He brought them on the boat in trunks. And so it was a focal point of his to do this. And this was also the means by which he was able to sustain himself financially when he was in New York. He was selling the books on an ongoing basis. And certainly he wasn't worried about how people perceived the books in terms of so-called grammatical or spelling mistakes. It was irrelevant. And for all of us, it was irrelevant. I know in 1971, when I joined the temple here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, we lived in a very austere, humble situation. I mean, back then, when people talked about surrender, it meant everything. You surrendered everything. It wasn't like you just decided, well, I don't think I'll give this up or that up. Basically, you moved into the center that was set up with nothing, absolutely nothing. A little handful of clothes. Of course, young men can do that. As you get older, you become more entangled with material life and you accumulate all kinds of things. But back then, we were in a real strict sense renounced from everything. And for many years, Yashoda Prabhu, Nandana Prabhu, we just were very happy just to have nothing but the service that we were given to Srila Prabhupada and his mission. Made us completely happy. There's a certain freedom when you have no attachments except the attachment to the service of the Lord. There's a freedom. Actually, the word brahmachari means freedom. You're free. And, in the material world, we're all in the prison house of material life. So it becomes very complicated and difficult to give these things up, the material things that we have, whether it's money or possessions, family members. Although we have to give them all up. Time and tide wait for no man. We're just getting a notice today that Gopal Krishna, a god brother of mine, who I worked with for about 7 or 8 years in Canada, seems to be at the end of his life. Time and tide wait for no man. So this is the situation for all of us. And the most important thing is that while we're here, with our time, with our facilities, we should try to engage in the service of the spiritual master as quickly as possible. Yes, quickly as possible. Because why? You're not guaranteed to live on. Some, of course, people think, well, and this is spoken about by Prabhupada in Nectar of Devotion, that the most wonderful thing is you look around, you see everybody is dying. your sister has died, your brother has died, your mother has died, your friends are dying. I see it every day online. Your god brothers are dying, and you think, I won't die. I was speaking to a god brother the other day, and he was saying to me, well, because I was talking to him about the fundraising drive that we're having for the Srimad Bhagavatam reprint, which is part of the Hare Krishna Society Charitable Trust, which is we have a bank account there. So when you give a donation, the money goes directly into the trust. There are no fees, management fees. There's no transportation expenses for any individuals. There is no other costs, even with GoFundMe. If you put the lever, when you give your donation, by the way, everyone, just know that there's a lever there you can push that'll give them no fees for the service that they're providing, and 100% of your money, say you give $108, and by the way, if you give $108, you can see I have this beautiful Krishna t-shirt. We're going to include in that donation a t-shirt, whatever size it is, or whatever male or female gender it is, in the package. So you'll get the 3 Srimad Bhagavatams, you'll get a Sri Upanishad, Easy Journey to Other Planets, and we'll send you a Krishna shirt for you to wear proudly when you go out on the street or in stores or wherever, to let people know you're a devotee of Krishna. So this is, we're very excited about this campaign, by the way, because it's a chance to get the attention of Krishna. Because by supporting the printing and publishing of Prabhupada's books by our group, we'll get the attention of Krishna, and Krishna will bless us, all of us, individually and collectively, in our mission to save Prabhupada's mission and the philosophy of Krishna consciousness from those who have damaged it severely by their own personal ambitions. Such a tragedy. So, a great mission. And we're going to go now to the diaries. We've been reading these diaries. They're just fantastic. And I hope you all enjoy them. They're a treasure house of information for us. Really get an insight. So we'll go to Rupesh. If you could go to the diaries. Let's see if we're sending them globally, so they go from here to Bangalore, and then from Bangalore, from Vinod, it went to Rupesh, and here we are. So this is, thank you. Beautiful. See that? Look at that. Oh, we're at 5th. Okay, go slide back up, Prabhu, so we can get that. Yeah, thank you. Any source after the payment of all the debts and obligations of the corporation shall be used or distributed subject to the order of the Supreme Court of the State of New York as provided by law exclusively for purposes within those set forth in the Article 2nd of this certificate and within the intendment of Section 501C of the Internal Revenue Code of 54, its regulations, as the same now exist or as they may be hereafter amended from time to time. So in order to operate any organization in a particular country, you have to register. So Prabhupada was going through this registration in order to legally operate in America. But preaching does not require legal documentation. Preaching just requires you get up and get going. It has nothing to do with it. But if you're going to collect money in a country, you have to follow the laws of the land. So 5th, the operation of the corporations are to be conducted principally within the state of New York. 6th, the principal place of worship of this society is intended to be located at 26 2nd Avenue in the city, county, and state of New York. 7th, the number of trustees of the society shall be 9. And by the way, these people weren't really committed. Prabhupada just assembled them to facilitate putting this organization into place. The names and addresses of the trustees until the first annual meeting of the corporation. So that may change. That's the idea. It could have changed. Prabhupada was just doing to get it started. And the name, let's go down them. Slide it down, Rupesh. The names were Michael Grant, that's Mukunda, Jan Osland. Who's that, Yashoda? Jan Osland, do you know? James Green, I think that's Yogeshwar. The names and addresses.
Jodharani.
Jan Olson. Yeah, okay, thank you. The names and addresses of the trustees until the second annual meeting of the corporation are as followed. Paul Gardner and Donald Chapelain, Raymond Maris, Carl Jurgens, Raphael Balsam, Robert Lefkowitz. Who are those people? Do you know Krishna Katha? Paul Gardner?
I do not. Sorry, I don't.
That's okay. The names in the flame of eternal time. You come and go. They burn and then they disappear. Ninth, and they probably all disappeared anyway.
I have no attachment to my Karmi name. None.
North, the first annual meeting for the annual election of trustees is held on July 6, 67. These are technical legal terms or rules for running a company if you're not familiar. Again, what I'm saying is you have to follow the laws of the land. And Prabhupada was very meticulous in doing that. He understood that how important that was for him to serve his spiritual master and Krishna effectively. Be honest, 100% honest in all your dealings. And 10, the matters set forth in the paragraphs 1 through 8 of this certificate were determined at a meeting held for the purpose pursuant. So you have to have these regular board meetings. And by the way, the Hare Krishna Society that Yashodanandana Prabhu started 22 years ago approximately has been managed by him carefully over those years to follow the rules of maintaining a legitimate religious organization, which can give you a donation receipt. If you're in America, it'll be applicable there for your donation for the printing of the Bhagavatams. So we're very happy for that. Okay, so let's go to 11. Okay, beautiful. Now the really highlight of this, look at that signature of Prabhupada. Isn't that just beautiful? His signature, so majestic. And remember, this was back then. This is his signature to certify that this is his corporation, ISKCON, that he's established on the 13th day of July, 1966, with his personal endorsement. Yes, I've started the Krishna consciousness movement. And go ahead to the next page. So that's the date. So everybody know that this was the date of the incorporation. And final page there. Stephen Goldsmith was the lawyer. So he's being like the notary and giving that information. And I wanted to go back to the purposes of the corporation as one last look. That'd be G, Rupesh Prabhu. Yeah, no, just the last purpose. I think I sent it to you. Hold on. Yeah. Here we are. With a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. That's G. This is Prabhupada's direction for all of us, to be a part of in the spreading of the Sankirtan movement. These are the purposes of the corporation, and we are carrying that purpose out in this fundraising drive with the reprinting of the Delhi Bhagavatams. So please be mindful of that, and we hope you step up today. We have 14 people so far that have donated out of 8 billion. Out of 8 billion people, 14. So please consider a $108 donation. If we have 200 people, then we'll reach our limit. And you'll get some merchandise. You're going to get the books, which you can treasure and pass on to your family members. And in this way, get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Let's move forward with the Bhagavad Gita as it is, class. Given by His Grace, Yashodanandana Prabhu, who's, I hope he's not cold up in those mountains in California. Prabhu, glories to
We are expecting snow today. We are expecting snow in the mountains today. Crazy weather. The demigods are upset. Both Vayu Indra and the 30 million demigods are upset with some of the inhabitants of California. Not in San Diego. Krishna Katha is there. It's protected there. Here, well, we have to see what happens.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe some of the demigods are going to join us today for the class. Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Let's do the bhajan. Jayarada Madhava Rupesh. Thank you.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava जगचार्य चित्तर सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, 2, to the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Thanks, everybody, for joining in this weekly Bhagavad Gita reading and discussion. As we do every week, we will be reciting certain Sanskrit verses which were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966. As a matter of fact, I found out that these particular verses were introduced by Srila Prabhupada on February 19th, 1966, during a Bhagavad Gita lecture. And that's when he also introduced the Gita Mahatmyam. So we'll be reciting those, and we invite you to participate with us. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan tam sajivam sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and to the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisance to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associate Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will just read one of the verses of Srila Prabhupada's translations from the Gita Mahatmya. I have to locate it here. We have Srila Prabhupada's own personal translation of these beautiful verses. We will read text number 3. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamrita snanam samsaramala nashanam, from the Gita Mahatmya, text number 3. One cleanses oneself daily by taking bath in the water, but one who takes one's bath in the sacred Ganges river of Bhagavad Gita, the dirty material life is altogether vanquished. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This week, we will be reading from chapter 11, text number 7 and 8, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. I'll repeat one line of the Sanskrit verse slowly, and please feel free to repeat as part of our mutual Sanskrit education. Ihe kastam jagat kritsnam, ihe kastam jagat kritsnam, Pashyadya sacharacharam. Pashyadya sacharacharam. Mama dehe gudakesha. Mama dehe gudakesha. Yaschanyadrashtumitchasi. Yaschanyadrashtumitchasi. Iha, in this. Ekastam, in one. Jagat, the universe. Kritsnam, completely. Pashya, see. Adya, immediately. Sa, with. Chara, moving. Acharam, not moving. Mama, my. Dehe, in this body. Gudakesha, O Arjuna. Yat, that. Cha, also. Anyat, other. Drashtum, to see. Itchasi, you like. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything is here completely. Purport by His Divine Grace. No one can see the entire universe sitting in one place. Even the most advanced scientists cannot see what is going on in other parts of the universe. Krishna gives him the power to see anything he wants to see, past, present, and future. Thus, by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna is able to see everything. Text number 8. Natumam shakyase drashtum. Natumam shakyase drashtum. Anineva svachakshusha. Anineva svachakshusha. Divyam dadamite chakshuhu. Divyam dadamite chakshuhu. Pashyame yogameshwaram. Pashyame yogameshwaram. Na, never. To, but. Mam, me. Shakyase, able. Drashtum, to see. Anena, by this. Eva, certainly. Svachakshusha, with your own eyes. Divyam, divine. Dadami, I give. Te, you. Chakshuhu, eyes. Pashya, see. Me, my. Yoga Eshwaram, inconceivable mystic power. Translation. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give to you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Purport. A pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. To see the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna is told not to change his mind, but his vision. The universal form of Krishna is not very important. That will be clear in the verses. Yet, because Arjuna wanted to see it, the Lord gives him the particular vision required to see that universal form. Devotees who are correctly situated in a transcendental relationship with Krishna are attracted by loving features, not by a godless display of opulences. The playmates of Krishna, the friends of Krishna, and the parents of Krishna never want Krishna to show his opulences. They are so immersed in pure love that they do not even know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In their loving exchange, they forget that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the boys who play with Krishna are all highly pious souls, after many, many births, they're able to play with Krishna. Such boys do not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take him as a personal friend, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Person is considered as the impersonal Brahman by great sages, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the devotees, and as a product of this material nature by ordinary men. The fact is that the devotee is not concerned to see the Vishwarupa, the universal form, but Arjuna wanted to see it to substantiate Krishna's statement, so that in the future people could understand that Krishna not only theoretically or philosophically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually presented himself as such to Arjuna. Arjuna must confirm this because Arjuna is the beginning of the parampara system. Those who are actually interested to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and who follow in the footsteps of Arjuna should understand that Krishna not only theoretically presented himself as the Supreme, but actually revealed himself as the Supreme. The Lord gave Arjuna the necessary power to see his universal form because he knew that Arjuna did not particularly want to see it, as we have already explained. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sigurave Namah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Danteridam Yachi Punama Punaham Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Presta Sat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So there are many very important points that are being presented by Srila Prabhupada in these verses of Bhagavad Gita, these explanations about the universal form. One basic point which Prabhupada makes is a pure devotee does not like to see Krishna in any form except his form with two hands. A devotee must see his universal form by his grace, not with the mind, but with spiritual eyes. We do know from reading Srila Prabhupada's books, his lectures, his presentation of Krishna consciousness, that he explains everything about Krishna. that he explains the science of how to love Krishna, which begins by developing some proper respect and proper love for the bona fide representative of Krishna, not simply on the basis of sentiment or emotion. Of course, sentiment and emotion is very good. That is also very nice. We don't decry if somebody is preaching that somebody should develop some love for the spiritual master or affection for the spiritual master. But just like one time in Calcutta, a devotee came to see Srila Prabhupada. He paid his obeisances, and he's looking at Srila Prabhupada. He said, "Oh, Prabhupada, please give me your mercy." Prabhupada said, "No, you give me your mercy." What Prabhupada was trying to say is that I'm working, traveling, came to your country, started the movement. Now you do your part. Now you help. There was an incident where several devotees, we were in Prabhupada's room. This was, I believe, in 1973. There was Rohini Kumar, Guru Kripa Swami, my lowly self, and various other devotees. And we're looking at Prabhupada expecting some kind of lecture, and Prabhupada's looking at all of us. He says, "Where's the money?" And we look at Prabhupada and said, "What, Prabhupada?" "The money. I'm trying to build a temple at Mayapur. Do you have any money to help? Do you have any money to contribute? You all know I'm trying to do this, and you're sitting here. What do you plan to do to help build this temple?" Very simple. In other words, it's one thing to say, "Oh, Prabhupada, we love you. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to his divine grace." Well, that's nice. That's a good first start. But real service means to do something for the spiritual master. That is important. I heard a story one time from one of Prabhupada's servants who went in Srila Prabhupada's room and told Srila Prabhupada, "Prabhupada, I am so fallen. I need your mercy." And Prabhupada reacted, "The whole world can see you're fallen. Now, what do you plan to do about it?" That is the question. What are you going to do about it? It's a very good realization to recognize that one is fallen or one is very inadequate, or it's definitely a very good start. As a matter of fact, if we look in Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, Dabhyarkas and Sakar Malik, one of the first things they did when they paid obeisance is they quoted a verse, "Matulyo nasti papatma na paradicha kaschana. Pariyarya pilajja mekim brube purushottama." See, there's no greater offenders than us. There's no greater sinner than us. We're not even ashamed of this. Please give us your mercy. The humble, meek attitude is definitely a very important aspect of spiritual life. One cannot adopt a puffed up, arrogant attitude in dealing with the spiritual master or the science of bhakti. That will not work very well. That will not achieve very good results. One should adopt the proper mindset. But the point that Prabhupada used to love to see is what service are you willing to do? How are you willing to help to spread the movement? I don't know if Vishwakarma Prabhu remembers this, but when Prabhupada came to Toronto after they invited him, when they acquired the temple, what that Prabhupada called the topmost triumphs for Krishna, Vishwakarma told me that story years ago, and I remember it very well. Prabhupada told Vishwakarma, "Please don't turn this temple into a Hari Bol Sampradaya." And Vishwakarma looked at Prabhupada and said, "Prabhupada, what is a Hari Bol Sampradaya?" And Prabhupada explained to him and said, "Well, in India, they have a lot of Vaishnava, especially in Bengal. They do Hari Bol, but they don't study the Shastra. So you have to study the books. You have to read my books to understand. Otherwise, eventually the Hari Bol will stop." So it is very important. He instructed that you, along with the worship, the chanting, you have to study the books. And this is basically very, very crucial, because what has happened since Prabhupada has departed, there's been many misconceptions with persons with a poor fund of knowledge, and many of whom sometimes claim to be very educated, very scholarly, very academic, but they misunderstand the position of a pure devotee, of a Mahabhagavata. And this is very regrettable, but this can be corrected very easily. Many such persons sometimes will attempt to write so-called biographies or account of Prabhupada's life. It's interesting to note that there's no record anywhere of Prabhupada giving an instruction to any of his disciples to write a biography of his life, because Prabhupada knew that many devotees had misconceptions about his position. What is a pure devotee? What is a Paramamsa? What is a Mahabhagavata? What is a Nityasiddha? What is an eternally liberated soul? What are these great acharyas? People think to see Atmavan Manyate Jagat. They tend to see things from their own limited perspective. That is the defect of conditioned soul. That's why it's very important to see things in the proper perspectives, not the defective perspective. Srila Prabhupada has given so many instructions. For example, in the Nectar of Instruction, verse number 6 in the purport, Nectar of Instruction, text number 6 in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, one is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte especially, considering a pure devotee from a material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but one should try to see the internal features and understand how he's engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself. This is a very important instruction that everybody should really try to reflect on and follow. Another very important instruction is given in the Antya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, text 173. Antya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, text 73. Therefore, one who cannot distinguish between devotion and ordinary karma may mistakenly consider the body of a pure devotee material. One who knows does not commit such a mistake. Non-devotees who consider devotional activities as ordinary material activities to be on the same levels are offenders to the chanting of the transcendental holy name of the Lord. A pure devotee knows that the devotee's body, being always transcendental, is just suitable for rendering service to the Lord. And there are literally hundreds of quotes like this to explain the position of a fully perfect, realized pure devotee. We have to very carefully study these things so we do not make the mistake of thinking Prabhupada just to be some employee of their corporation. But what to do from those who claim that they have seen the truth? Thank you very much. To whom it may concern. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Exactly. Prabhupada is the bona fide representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Prabhupada. And it must be noted that there was objection to Prabhupada being called Prabhupada by his disciples, namely all of us. And his godbrothers objected to that. And Prabhupada, Yashodanandana Prabhu, tells the story of Prabhupada getting his secretary to go and get his letterhead to show his godbrothers that his name was A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. There was no Prabhupada. And the reason we gave him that respect and honor was because it was apparent by his actions that he was and is the legitimate representative of Bhaktisiddhanta by his actions. Back then he was, and he is still living with us in his Vani incarnation, and that should be very clear. And it was interesting to note, Yashodanandana Prabhu, you mentioned about Toronto. Yes, Prabhupada did come to Toronto and bless us. He came a few times, twice actually. And on the second visit, it was to celebrate the purchase of the Toronto Temple, which is in a very prestigious part of the city of Toronto, just up from the Parliament buildings and just south of Upper Canada College in Forest Hill, which is where the elite rich people live. So we made that bold sort of act of purchasing this building in the midst of all the aristocrats, because why not? Krishna is the supreme aristocrat. So we should expose that to others. And Prabhupada told us to put up a sign, Hare Krishna, and we did. On the building, on the front and back, we had a large lawsuit against us, which we won with my friend Rick Schechter. And Yashoda knows who he was. We won. It was a big case, but that's for another story. But it is interesting to note that Prabhupada and I let Prabhupada go on we took him on morning walks. So we would go to different parts of the city and have him walk around. The idea was we would bless the city of Toronto with his presence. So we got him to walk around the Parliament buildings. So he toured that. And then we took him to Don Valley. We took him to the beaches. So we had a different schedule every day. And I was blessed to drive the car for him. I never spoke, actually. I just drove the car. I was too afraid to make a mistake. And we were on the walk, and I had a question, and I've told this story before about fallen. Because there's a question about that you brought up about people being fallen. Yes, we are fallen. And Tamal Krishna had brought up this bogus philosophy in our movement back then, that if you were a brahmachari and you got married, you had fallen down. If you change ashram, all of a sudden you're fallen. Because he was trying to tell people some kind of poisonous explanation of our philosophy, which has gone on in our movement for a long time. Different interpretations, cherry picking points of philosophy, distorting them and confusing innocent people that are participating in our mission on what its purposes are. This is sinister, poisonous. So I was back then a brahmachari. I'm on the walk. I was afraid to ask Prabhupada a question, as you know, for fear that you might get chastised publicly. Why are you so stupid? But I thought, okay, I still remember like standing in our group around Prabhupada and thinking, am I going to do this? Should I do this? I'm afraid. And I thought, no, I've got to ask. It's an important question for me at the time. So I asked Prabhupada, I said, Prabhupada, it's considered, I repeated this bogus philosophy from Tamal and his Radha Damodar party. is it considered to be, Prabhupada, is it considered to be a fall down if a brahmachari decides to get married? And everybody stopped. We all stopped on this pathway by the lake, Ontario. And Prabhupada looked at me directly and he said, where is the question of fall down when you're already fallen? It's a very interesting response. And it certainly answered the question clearly to me of where we're at as devotees. We're in a fallen state. Yes, we are. And Yashodanandana pointed that out. We are fallen. We all know that. We should be very careful not to pretend, like so many people pretend they are on this transcendental plane of Goloka Vrindavan. I had one of our godbrothers, he sent me this book translated by Burijan called Govinda Leelam Rita. Is that it? Yashodanandana Prabhu? Yeah, okay. So he said, oh, you should read this book. It's talking about the pastimes of Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. This is it. You don't have to chant your rounds anymore, Vishva. It's okay. Just read this book. Be a devotee on a transcendental platform. And maybe you should be a guru too. Oh my God. Well, just so all of you know, I blocked him in my phone messages, and I blocked him in Facebook, and we said politely goodbye. See you later. See you maybe in the next lifetime. But it's over. That's it. So there's so many different sahajiyas, sahajiya philosophy, people claiming to be at this advanced stage of Krishna consciousness when they're not. They're not. But they're pretending, posing, posturing as being big devotees that are on the Uttama Adhikari stage of Krishna consciousness. No. And we should always remember that we are the servants of the servant of Srila Prabhupada and his mission. And if we do that, we'll always be safe. If that's the highest platform. And this way, when you take that position in life, I, dwelling within the heart, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge, Krishna says, because you get the mercy of Krishna by taking this humble position. Yes, Krishna will reveal the philosophy to us by our unconditional service to him and to his pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, which is the mood of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. We are the selfless servants of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And every day we have an opportunity to step up on the platform of devotional service and get the mercy. If you want to get the mercy, you have, as Yashodanandana was, you have to act. You cannot just talk. There's a saying, Krishna Katha, talk is cheap. It's cheap. And a lot of people that I deal with personally, that I'm preaching to in the local area here, they just babble on. Babble, babble, babble. This, that, I've got this idea, I want to do this. I always tell them, you're going nowhere except to your grave. You're stupid. Like, wake up. Use your time intelligently. Your God-given talents, your facilities that you have, dovetail them in the service of Krishna. Then your life will be successful. But anything else is simply a waste of time. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please.
Very important point, which has been raised here. There is an interesting lecture by Srila Prabhupada on this topic that you brought up about the Govinda Lilamrita. The Govinda Lilamrita is a book that was compiled, written by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. It's one of the most highly elevated books on the Gopi Katha in Krishna Consciousness. It describes the activities of Radha and Krishna 24 hours a day in Goloka Vrindavan. And Prabhupada related a story how his spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, went to his father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and asked him, I want to publish Govinda Lilamrita. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I will tell you later. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came later, and then Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him, he says, yes, you can print only one copy. Now, what message was he trying to tell him? That these kind of literatures are not meant for public distribution. Unfortunately, now we have neophytes who think themselves that they're paramamsas. They're publishing these kind of literatures. That's why when Prabhupada came to America, what did he publish? What books did he have? Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, Easy Journey to Other Planets, which he published in 1959. That same year, he had completed his Ishopanishad. In 1969, when the movement was really starting to take off, that was one of the books that was being distributed. It's a small book, but very, very potent. In other words, there is a certain pattern of preaching that is established by the Acharya, by the bona fide authorized Acharya. What is going on here is Sahajiya nonsense. These kind of devotees publishing Govinda Lilamrita. This is not Prabhupada's instruction. We do not find Prabhupada's instruction to go and translate Govinda Lilamrita and publish. Here, Bhakta Rupesh Prabhu has put on the, for those of you who can see on the chat, there is reference to, he says, my Guru Maharaj wanted to publish Govinda Lilamrita. He asked permission of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So first of all, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I'll tell you someday. And when he reminded, he said, yes, you can print one copy. If you are so much anxious to print it, print one copy. You'll read and you will see that you have printed, not for distribution. So we are printing all these books for understanding properly. Not that here's Radhakund, let us go, jump over like monkey. Here's Rasalita. Prabhupada was not very fond of his disciples to jump the process of bhakti like monkeys, like exactly what you've described. This is a very important point. Prabhupada preached the fundamentals from beginning to end. And when we carefully study his book, he's given the whole 10th canto of the Bhagavatam with the Krishna book. Everything is there. The nectar, look at the nectar of devotion. Look at the last 3 parts of nectar of devotion. This is very advanced spiritual science. It is there. But devotees want to jump artificially like monkeys. Very important point. Very important point.
And I wanted to mention Yashodanandana Prabhu. I saw, a recent post on the Facebook media page where a Gaudiya Math member was explaining to his disciples how Prabhupada never presented the more intimate pastimes of Krishna to his disciples. This is a common criticism of them and Prabhupada's writings. Completely false, completely ridiculous, absurd. This type of bogus preaching is a sign that these people have never really read Prabhupada's books or understood what he was doing when he was presenting the philosophy. We are very blessed, by the way, all of us. And I do pray for us all to get the chance to read all of the books you may know that I had a cataract episode 2 years ago where I couldn't read anymore. And it was really a tragedy for me because over the last 7 years or so, I've read 50,000 pages of Prabhupada's books. Yes, I read the Chaitanya Charitamrita 3 times in its entirety, and the Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., because that's our duty. You know, do I understand it? Well, I'm learning gradually, step by step, to hear properly from the spiritual master. So I do pray for other people to have this opportunity to read, especially Chaitanya Charitamrita, through the entirety of all the 17 volumes. It is really an inconceivable blessing for any of us, because there are very few people on this planet that will ever do this, even read the Chaitanya Charitamrita once, the whole series of books. There's a devotee godbrother of mine from Russia, and he's talking all kinds of highfalutin philosophy. Oh, I know this and that. I asked him, have you read the books? Well, he's only read the Gita. Okay, well, the Gita is enough. Prabhupada had told me personally, if you read the Gita and you go travel, you can just preach the Gita. Everyone will accept you as a spiritual authority. Yes. So Bhagavad Gita is a very valuable literature for learning the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Is perfect and complete. But if you have a chance to read Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, why don't you want the whole feast? Why do you just want to have the rice with no sabji? You have the whole feast. It's an amazing experience to be able to read these books and then incorporate this understanding into your own personal devotional service every day that keeps you on the path of chanting the holy names. It keeps you on the path of preaching the philosophy to others. It keeps you inspired to share this information with as many people as possible, because it is the greatest gift to humanity. Transcendental knowledge is the opportunity to become enlightened and get out of this state of material existence, which is where Prabhupada says there is no happiness. Know it for certain. There is no happiness in this material world. That is an illusion. Nirmama, nothing is mine. Everything is Krishna's. And people that get this understanding, everyone, they will be happy in this life because they are the eternal servitors of Krishna. So we'll move forward now with our discussions. I'd like to get Jonas Priya to make a few comments, if he could, for us on today's discussion. In Hawaii, aloha. Are you there, Jonas Priya?
Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. As always, I'm so happy to be able to attend these wonderful classes. Wow, so many points. Yeah, Prabhupada's books, my favorite topic. That I'm so excited about these Bhagavatam books.
Yes.
I can't wait to get my hands on them and pass them on to other lucky people. And I think we should all participate to the best of our ability. We might not be able to print books personally, that's a big endeavor, but in a group we could do wonderful things. So if we could support the organizers and support this program, then that's the greatest service. Even if we have to beg, borrow, or steal, we have to help. Then Prabhupada would be so pleased. Prabhupada is already smiling upon us as soon as we start thinking that I want to print or be part of the process of publishing these books, Prabhupada immediately is pleased, and the blessing in our life will manifest. Believe it, because this is his greatest desire, to print these books and to distribute these books. And by doing so, we might be nonsense, we might be fallen, we might be whatever, but he said, my books are not. So if you help me print these books and distribute these books, then you are perfect. So this should be our goal. How could I help? How could I invite people to come to join this class and hear these wonderful lectures, and they to become enlightened and to understand that whatever amount of Prabhupada disciples are left, and the ones that we're trying to realize, talking personally, that it is Prabhupada's books is the greatest treasure he's given us. He said, temples might come and go, devotees might come and go, but my books will be there for the next 10,000 years. So if we manage to distribute one set of these books or 1,000,000 sets, Prabhupada is very, very pleased, and definitely will be feeling that in our daily life. Hare Krishna.
Glories to Prabhupada. Thank you. And we're still on the campaign to get them printed. So that's our first job, is to get them printed. We've made all the right connections to John Espriya to get working with other devotees to get these books reproduced. So step by step, and we're on a regulated schedule because of Indian weather. So for those that haven't donated yet for the GoFundMe, please step up and do it immediately. Nilesh Dalal in Miami, Florida. You've had your hand up. Thank you very much. Please let us know what's on your mind today, this beautiful
Hare
Saturday,
Krishna.
May 4th.
Hare Krishna. My internet may be a little bit patchy, but Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada. I had a few questions, actually. Earlier, while you're reading the Prabhupada diaries, you had mentioned that how Prabhupada set up the International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
Yes.
I would like to know from Yashodanand Prabhu or yourself or anybody as to why did Prabhupada name it ISKCON and not Gaudiya Math of America or anything associated with Gaudiya Math, in any kind of way. Though, of course, we understand now through our minute realizations that the philosophy, the understanding is exactly the same as what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj taught in his
Yes.
Gaudiya Maths and to Srila Prabhupada, but the name was completely changed. If there was any kind of a reasoning behind that, that was number one. And number two, in your talks, as you talk about that how different people are trying to project Govinda Leela and all other things. This is exactly what the material world wants us to do, what Maya wants us to do, to jump, to show others how intellectual or how advanced we are. But
Yes.
again, remember, who are we trying to impress? Who are we trying to gain accolades from or adorations from, as Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us? We are trying to gain adorations from conditioned souls. And how much of a brownie points would that count in the real evolution of our Krishna consciousness? Should we please the conditioned souls, or should we please the liberated, the ever liberated souls, the Nitya Mukta souls, like Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara? Who do we really want to impress? This is what we need to introspect ourselves and do accordingly. Remember, Prabhupada never told us anything in a what you call absolute fashion. He always appealed to our intelligence. And the question is, why the intelligence? Why did he always want to think about is that appeal to our intelligence and not anything else? not to our emotional side, not to our sentimental side, but always our intelligence. Because even if we were to see our composition of the gross body and the subtle body, the intelligence is the one which controls everything. And that can change or modulate our behavior and go about it. So I would like to know is what is the reason if there was ever a discussion about Prabhupada naming ISKCON as ISKCON and not Gaudiya Math 2.0 or whatever version he would have given, just to show some resemblance, you see? Hare Krishna.
Ah, that's a very long question. Very interesting. Yashoda, please, if you could respond.
Okay, just trying to summarize this issue here. In the late 1960s, from the 1966 to 1969, Srila Prabhupada had numerous communications with various members of different branches of the Gaudiya Math, or there was communication with one branch called the Gaudiya Mission in Calcutta. Let's remember that after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disappearance, the whole Math basically the united Gaudiya Math split into various factions, and the united preaching was no more. But the Gaudiya Mission was attempting to preach, and Prabhupada brought up a point. They were attempting some cooperation. Prabhupada was attempting cooperation with the Gaudiya Mission. And there is one letter where Prabhupada brought up to one Bhagavat Maharaj, not the ISKCON Bhagavat Maharaj, to a Bhagavat Maharaj of the Gaudiya Mission, that I see that you have in your articles of incorporation that the Acharya can name his successor in writing. And Prabhupada said, this is a controversial point. And Prabhupada mentioned, there is no record of our Guru Maharaj ever appointing an Acharya after him. And then there was some other correspondence where Srila Prabhupada says, because there was no cooperation amongst the different God brothers, it was inevitable that I had to start a separate, because Prabhupada tried to cooperate with them. He requested the Swami Tirtha at the Mayapur birthplace to give him a small plot of land so he could build a school for his students in a place right next to Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. They refused. He tried to get Ban Maharaj to give him some property that used to be it was a college that he had in Vrindavan across the street from the Krishna Balaram temple. That didn't go anywhere. He tried to have he tried to cooperate, but he did not get any help, any cooperation from them, except a few of them may have written letters or something. But I'm talking practical, physical cooperation, very little. And Prabhupada said it was inevitable that he had to start his own organization. And then he tried to get something started at Radha Damodar Temple. Somebody donated some land in Vrindavan for the building of the Krishna Balaram Temple. And then the movement was really moving by leaps and bounds by 69, 70, 71. So there are numerous letters from Srila Prabhupada, but basically he got no cooperation from these people. He tried to cooperate with them. We've read some of it in the diary that we've been reading. Prabhupada was trying to get some financing done. That fell through. The industrialist who had some interest in helping, he fell out. And then it's basically was an unfortunate set of events, but Prabhupada kept marching forward very steadily in the preaching of Krishna consciousness. He was never disturbed. He just tried to engage them, and unfortunately, they did not participate. It's the actual historical reality. This is all documented in all these various letters that Prabhupada had. I mean, I personally saw with my own eyes in Mayapur in 1972 when two senior disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta, two senior sannyasis, these were probably the senior most sannyasis in the mission, went to see Prabhupada. And that incident that Vishwakarma discussed about Prabhupada showing his letterhead, saying, I don't call myself Prabhupada, my name is Tridandi Goswami, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And they were furious because we, his disciples, were calling him Prabhupada on account of his accomplishments of fulfilling the mission of Lord Chaitanya. We started to realize by 68, 69, this person is not just some regular sadhu. He is empowered. He had special power. He is the actual ambassador of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, how is he having this, at this age, able to travel around the world and make hundreds of devotees and explain every conceivable question? So this is a very important point. Prabhupada started that organization to keep the teachings pure. He gave everything in his books, and devotees should try to preserve that, make an effort to preserve that. Personally, we are not after your money. We don't want your money personally. All we want is humbly asking anybody, try to contribute, whether it's $5, $5,000, 5 million, that is up to you. But try to contribute something to preserve that legacy, that literary legacy. Prabhupada told Guru Das one time, and I was told this personally, that I did not know if I was going to survive after his heart attacks on the Jaladuta. And he had another heart attack in 1967 in New York. He says, I put everything into that Bhagavatam. Everything into that first canto of Bhagavatam. Because he didn't know. He was coming to America, foreign country. So everything is there in that Bhagavatam. And if you look at this Easy Journey to Other Planets, that Ishopanishad, that is super potent books. So we are just begging everybody with a straw between our teeth, please try to contribute, try to sacrifice. That would be... There's an interesting story when we saw Prabhupada in 1972 in December after coming from a preaching tour in Bangalore, Mysore, Coimbatore. And we told Prabhupada that with some people, it seems to be very difficult, although it's obvious that they have plenty of money. They're very hesitant to give. And Prabhupada said, well, you can explain it like this. It's very nice, you're a very nice gentleman, but kindly consider, Krishna does not look just how much you give, but he's looking how much you're keeping for yourself. Think about that. Hare Krishna.
Another question quickly, Prabhuji, is the books which we are trying to print, the Bhagavatams, are they licensed under the BBTI originally? And so have we seek permission? Yes, meaning book copyrights.
That is a legal matter that we cannot discuss on this call. That is being handled by a very experienced attorney. That's all we can say at this point.
Okay.
In other words, basically, we're not going to make legal comments or legal statements on this call.
Yeah. The other thing is, Nilesh, this was pre-ISKCON. These books were written pre-ISKCON, and they were never registered in New York or Washington with copyrights.
Interesting.
And we are working with KBI, actually, for the printing of these books. So it's all good. Public domain. Thank you, Nilesh, by the way, sorry. And we'll go to Kevin, and then we're going to have Ron Singh and Krishna Katha speak, because we're moving close to the end of the class. It is, time is marching. Kevin G, in Tennessee, is it? You had a question or comment?
Yes, we have a question. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Please accept my humble obeisances, all the devotees. Hare Krishna. Yeah, I have a question. I thought I'd bring it up to you, Prabhu's, about a book, a certain book. I was thinking about asking about this recently. I thought now that we're talking about different personalities and histories of people reading high platform philosophies, neophytes getting access to very high platform subject matter, things like this. I was wondering, this one book, I've heard ISKCON devotees, ISKCON people talk about this one book before some years back, and I never purchased it. Okay,
what's the name of the book?
Chaitanya Bhagavat. Is this book authorized? or is this bona fide book Chaitanya Bhagavat? That's just asking this question.
Okay, Yashoda, please.
Prabhupada wanted that one of the books that he wanted translated. The Chaitanya Bhagavat is an authorized book. There is also a commentary in Bengali and Sanskrit that was written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. And this particular version that you may be referring to was translated from Sanskrit and Bengali by a Prabhupada disciple who was fairly knowledgeable in Sanskrit. I have a copy of that book. It is reasonably accurate, and the translations, because I have the Sanskrit commentary of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, so I'm able to check the accuracy of the translation. It's fairly accurate. It's very good. The translation, I believe they have done the word for word as well as the translation of the Bengali versions. It's a very good publication. But my point is also, before people would go to that book, they should try to study all of Prabhupada's citations and quotations that he gives from the Chaitanya Bhagavat in his Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatam. This is not very difficult. You can go to prabhupadbooks.com or the ISKCON folio, the Bhaktivedanta Archives folio, and you can type Chaitanya Bhagavat, or Vanipedia.com is probably the best one. You go to vanipedia.com and you search Chaitanya Bhagavata, and you're going to see all kinds of citations. First, do that part, and then you can see all of Prabhupada's commentaries on Chaitanya Bhagavat that Prabhupada has given. But that book that you've raised, yes, it is bona fide. It is correct.
Excellent, and thank you very much for that wonderful question, and all of our members for their discussions. We're going to move quickly. We're sort of out of time, but we want to move quickly just to give an update on our fundraising campaign, GoFundMe, for the printing of the Delhi Bhagavatams. And it was a very good point, Nilesh, that you made. And I hope that gives you some insight that this is pre-ISKCON registration in America. Ron Singh, maybe you could give us an update on how the campaign's going.
Okay, so let's bring up the campaign on the screen so everyone can
Yes.
see online what we're working with. Rupesh Prabhu, Jai. Okay, here we go.
Beautiful.
So this is the printing of the original 1962, 64, and 65 Delhi Bhagavatams. We have raised so far in GoFundMe donations $5,316, and our original target is $24,000. We see here the donations on the right-hand side. Peter Levine, Ishan Prabhu, he's one of the original Prabhupada disciples from the 1968 time. He donated $1,000. Reena Patel, she's also a well-wisher and a devotee of Srila Prabhupada. I think she's in the UK. She has donated $108. Our Nandana Prabhu, $108. Kavita Narendra, $116. Anonymous, $108 3 days ago. And let's go down a little bit. Let's drag the donation spot down. Yeah. So we can see who donated since last time. Go more. Okay, there we go. Anonymous 100. Yeah, there we go. So since last time we had another anonymous. Go down a little bit. Yeah, we have. Yes, we have Rupa Manjari also donated $108. Abai, and from last time, Vishwakarma's son, Shamsundar, Adina, Jonathan, Anonymous, Yasmin, Anonymous, myself, and Anonymous 200. So we'd like to thank all the devotees who are donating. We expect everyone to donate here as well because, this is a great project. And we want everyone to get these books. So we want all of Srila Prabhupada's books to be reprinted in this original format, meaning the 1962, 64, and the other books as well. The original the first edition books of Srila Prabhupada, everyone should have those. So this is just one of the campaigns we'll be having. So this will give devotees from all over the world to participate, especially people or devotees who are dedicated to the founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much to all the devotees who have donated and will be donating. If you're watching this, please share the link with your family, friends, well-wishers. Share it on the ISKCON group websites. Give them an opportunity so they can serve Srila Prabhupada. This is a very unique campaign that has never been done before. We have a unique group of devotees. Our videos are watched by hundreds and thousands of people. So if you have benefited from our program here, please kindly donate generously, and we'd appreciate it. And Srila Prabhupada's blessings are on all these individuals who have donated. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Yeah, and I got a note from Robert Barron. He wants to get a shirt. We will include in the package for $108. You'll receive the set of books, the 5 books. That's the set of Bhagavatams. And we will send you a ladies or a men's shirt with the Krishna name on it in different colors. So this will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. The different merchandising that we're doing to promote Krishna consciousness to everyone. So please, if we can get 200 people to give $108, we'll reach our goal. Krishna Katha is also in San Diego. He's an active member of the PDA, Hare Krishna Society. And go ahead, please, Prabhu, explain your points of view to the group today.
Thank you, Vishwakarma and Yashoda, Ron Singh, and excellent questions today. It was another wonderful class. We're so blessed to be able to come together using this amazing technology. So regarding the class today, the realization is, remember, we're 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. We're very tiny. So this "you're already fallen" statement by Srila Prabhupada is it's so accurate, it's so spot on that we have to take aback and reflect on our position. And so how do we help Srila Prabhupada? This campaign is the most dear to him because this is what he brought from India. He wrote these before he came, and he carried them in trunks. And I was talking to Govinda Dasi yesterday, and she said, I have one of the original sets. Prabhupada gave them to me and signed his name. So this is way beyond any wealth that you can accumulate in multiple lifetimes, because the knowledge, like you showed a reference, and we've been referencing it, everything is in these Bhagavatams. Everything you need to go back home, back to Godhead, yes, is in the Bhagavad Gita. And now you have another reference to go back home, back to Godhead. And there can be so many plans and so many ideas on how to please our spiritual master. I guarantee you there is no more pleasing than owning, well, we don't own anything, but being a preserving archivist of this 3-volume set in your library and read them. Like Vishwakarma got direct instructions from Prabhupada, read my books. And we've read this so many times. You're a disciple when you read my books. Yes, there's the disciplinary process, chanting the 16 rounds, following the 4 regular principles, serving the deity, serving the devotees, das, anudas. So many ways to please our spiritual master, and I cannot think of any more pleasing than helping this campaign move forward. And I blasted out 17 texts to the devotees that I associate with in the San Diego temple on Sunday during Kirtan, and it's a very enlivening thing to get a return text, which I did last night very late. And it was a nice Indian gentleman. He's a doctor, Western doctor. And his family's very nice. His children are young Vaishnavas. And he said, thank you for this opportunity. Can you elaborate? So I wrote some elaboration, and he wrote back immediately, said, I'm donating 108. So I don't know if that's appeared yet, but I know it will. He's a man of his word. And that's who we have to be for Prabhupada, is live in integrity and gratitude. Be our word. Don't say, oh, yeah, it's a great thing, and not do. Yashoda was very nicely putting it that we can all talk about, how wonderful Srila Prabhupada is, but now do something. So that's my appeal, and that's my realization. Thank you for letting me speak. All glories to
Just
the Lord.
before we end real fast, I'd like to acknowledge two more donations as we were broadcasting here. We have Joe Felice from Canada, our friend, and we have James Kibley also donated. So thank you very much for watching the program and instantly
Aye.
donate. So if people do this, devotees do this, we can immediately get those books printed in our hands before the summer is over, and in your hands, in a week before we, after we get it. So we're in the background working really hard to get it as soon as possible. So thank you very much for the donation, Joe and James.
Yes, so 200 people give $108. It's hardly anybody in this material world of billions. There are billions of people. Just like there are so many devotees. So the money, the Lakshmi is not significant, but it's a very significant thing if we give what we can. And I wanted to acknowledge that Yasmin Varani is from our temple here in Hamilton, and she gave, in Canadian dollars, $1,350. So if you can give 1,000, that's better than 108, or if you give 50, that's okay. I think the most important thing is everyone step up and show that we're all together as a team, trying our best to serve Prabhupada in his mission, even though we're may not have a lot of money. If we have some, whatever you have, you can give, and Krishna will acknowledge that. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll carry on with this campaign. It's quite a lot of fun and very spiritually satisfying for every member of this group that's participating. Haribol. Let's move forward with the Kirtan, Rupesh, and then the Vanchakalpa prayers led by Yashodananda. And tomorrow we'll see you at Srimad Bhagavatam class at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. We'll see you all tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time in the snowy mountain of Northern California, corresponding to 10 a.m. Toronto time or Eastern. We don't know. There's supposed to be some heavy snow just a little bit above us, and we're going to get hit. So, Hare Krishna, all glories to his divine great Srila Prabhupada and his divine transcendental message. Hare
Sorry,
Krishna.
we got a $501 donation from Chandresh right at the end of the program. Thank you very much.
Very nice, very nice. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya